All right, ladies and gentlemen, making your thumbnail sketches. So we've talked about environments, we've talked about space, and we've talked about composition. Now it is time to take all of that and the drawing skills that you've gained by drawing these three items and putting them together into one composition. So first you're going to take two Post-its. You're going to stick them together so that they are like the size of a Post-it and a half. And you're going to trace it 4 times on your paper. You can trace it whatever directions you want. I kind of did mine 2 horizontal and 2 vertical. You don't have to do that. You can do anything you want. You are also going to set up with the cardboard backdrop. So you see back here is my cardboard backdrop. And I also have my 3 items. I have my mouse, I have my charger, and I have my water bottle. Okay, so I have got my 3 items and my thumbnail page set up and ready to go. So the first thing I am going to do is set up my objects in a way that they are, so that I have a foreground, middle ground, and background. Now, you can set up your objects bigger to smaller or smaller to bigger. It doesn't much matter. But you want to set them up so that they're overlapping and they're filling up the space. Now, I'm going to use my phone to kind of show you what I'm talking about and what I'm talking about when I'm talking about point of view. So if I'm going to kind of take this picture here. So I'm taking this picture here. And I'm taking this picture here. I don't necessarily want you to use your phone, but I'm using it just for demo purposes so that you guys can see. Here we go. That, this, and that all look very different. Even though they are the same setup, it's just from different point of views. So what you want to choose is something like this one where you've got a foreground object, a middle ground object, and a background object. This one doesn't really show space, not as much. This one's okay, but I've got this big empty space here and a big empty space here. This one does a better job of filling the space. So using those diagonals. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that one. And because I kind of set this up vertically, I'm going to draw it in one of my vertical boxes. Now, I'm going to try to make sure I keep my sketchbook out of the picture. And I'm going to get the rest of my cord out of the picture so that I don't have to draw it. So, I'm going to start by sketching. I am sketching lightly. I am drawing the thing that's closest to me just a little bit bigger. I'm filling up the space, going all the way to the edges, trying to make it at least look a little bit three-dimensional. Am I making this a final drawing? No. I'm making enough three-dimensional that I get what I need to do. You can also kind of take your fingers and kind of look through them and figure out, okay, if this is what I'm seeing, what should I draw? So I've got that. I don't want you to shade your objects, but I do want you to add those cast shadows because they can help you fill up the space. I'm just going to lightly shade my cast shadow. You'll also notice I am not working with a shading pencil. I am just working with my regular pencil. That's too big. You want to make sure you're looking at perspective and proportion. If like mine, my 3 objects are very different sizes. So it could be that you need to figure out a way to get all 3 objects in your paper. If I draw this, and I kind of crop that water bottle off. I'm not a huge fan. I want to see more of my water bottle. But if we look at this thumbnail, let me get some light on the situation. If we look at this thumbnail, it fills the page. It's got all 3 objects. It's got overlapping. It's got cropping. Oh, I forgot to get my light back where it was. I forgot to add my cast shadows and my back 2 objects. Goes back here. I also forgot to add, I'm adding it right now, this line. You want to add the line that is created by that edge. This one here didn't show up in my picture, but this one did. You want to have your horizon line or your ground line where that cardboard piece hits your paper. So this comes all the way up here and goes up to here. There we go. So now I've got my 3 cast shadows. I've got my horizon line. I've got my 3 objects. They're looking fairly three-dimensional. But I didn't add any details. That's fine. Now, I didn't really like this setup. I think because of the disparity of the sizes of my objects, I'm actually going to try my water bottle kind of sideways. And maybe I add this. So now I'm going in, remember, foreground, middle ground, background. So now this time I'm making sure that this object and this object are kind of balancing each other out. Balance. I've got this thing tilted. So now I draw my horizon line. There's that background line. Now I'm drawing my cylinder. And I'm drawing it nice and big. I'm going to erase that background line in the middle so I know that it goes behind it. And then I've got this guy here, sitting here. And its cast shadow is going back and across. And I've got kind of the front of my mouse sticking up. And I've got the cord of my mouse going back to this thing and coming up. I've got the cast shadow over here. Okay, and then I'm going to shade in my cast shadow so I know what's shadowed and what's not. I'm going to add the little detail here. Just enough that I know what it is. Now, this is taking me 2 to 3 minutes each. That's about what it should. You don't want to spend too terribly amount of time on it, and then you can see that one. Okay, this one's still got a bit of an empty space here. Maybe I can try this again. But you're going to try this 4 different times. You're going to fill all 4 boxes, and then we are going to critique them next class. So, that is thumbnail sketches.